Welcome to XRIT hand posing system devlog 2. I've been working on the hand animation. And the grab hosing. I've got this slowed down so that we can actually see what's happening. Thought I was going to catch that in the air. I'm still working on this a bit, but everything's working. Looks pretty good. I'd be happy to use it. And then got the multi-pose grabbing, which all these are closed hand poses, but it's actually switching all the hand poses. So I technically have 4 different hand poses on this thing. Left, right for the front, and left, right for the primary. I guess you call them primary and secondary. So that's kind of where I'm at with the actual posing itself. Oh, I've been working on this, and this really doesn't equate to weapons in XRIT. I mean, I guess I could do like a snap type thing here, because you can always just add a second, your secondary down here, and then grab it right for like a gun. You know, however you wanted to do it. This is more for like if you put your hand against a wall, or if you get close to a light switch, it starts to pose. Think Half-Life Alyx, where you're coming up to things and then it just kind of poses when you get into a trigger zone. Anyway, let me jump into the editor and then I'll go over some of the changes there and some of the stuff I've been working on. Okay, so most of the stuff has been based around the hand posing system and the way the tools work. So let me come in here. So I have a hand pose recorder just like the last video and my hand pose attachment point. The hand pose attachment point is really just a data holder. It just holds, like when I grab it, what it's supposed to do. It tells me the attachment type, what the hand pose is that I'm supposed to give it, what the valid hand is it the right or left, so it knows what's going on. That's pretty much all it is. And should I parent the hand models? Because it's just showing you that. I can also parent the hand model now so that your hand will actually stay with the grabbable, so it gives it some physics, if you will. Allow hand switching is just, it disables the ability to switch the grabbable back and forth in between your hands, which I really don't want that most of the time, so I had to implement that myself. The recorder is where most of my work has been going into, so let's get into that. So if I spawn the preview, you can see it just gives me my default open pose. Now you can see I've got this load hand pose. What it's going to do is if post load is null, it's going to look at my hand pose attachment. It's going to see what that hand pose is. And now if it has a hand pose attachment and it has a hand pose, then it'll load this pose. If this doesn't exist at all, it's just going to do nothing if this is null. So right now, if I load the pose, it's going to give me the pose that's already attached to my hand pose attachment, right? But I can override that because this component is not required. So if I do this and I just grab my hand closed and then I put load pose, it's going to give me my closed. And then again, if I just null that out and then I load my hand pose, there we go. I've got this hand pose tools window that pops up, which I'm not finished with yet. But if I click on my preview, you can see I've got these gizmos. These are rotation gizmos for my hand, my fingers. As you can see, it's pretty messy. Now, when I first wrote this, it looked like this. It was like, whoa, okay. So I had to be able to size this. But the bad thing about that is Unity's editor automatically sizes things down as you get in. Well, the problem with that is that they might be too small, so I can size them. Additionally, I didn't need all of them, like it's still messy, right? So I made it to where I could disable all of them except for the ones that I'm needing. And this is also follows your local and global depending on how you like your gizmos. It doesn't matter, it's going to work the same. The only difference is that you're using global axes instead of local. And then undo obviously works. This is a precursor to something that I'm thinking about auto posing, perhaps. And all this does is it just travels in between your open and your closed pose, depending on the input that you give it. So I may add sliders all the way down for this in this tool, just so you can get a quick, quick rotation of your fingers. If you look on this side, you'll see the index will actually curl all the way into closed. So from there, you can just literally just like take your spread. I think that's the spread. Let's see. I think it's this one. There we go. Then you can just take your spread after you got your closed finger. Next, I've added a input manager because I didn't want to subscribe to all of my events for all of my inputs. So they just gave me a place where I could be like, okay, this is my left thumb rest, this is my left trigger, this is my left grip, and same for the right, and this is where my pose blenders live, and then I can find it. This is a static instance that I can look at from in a script, basically just by saying, input, XR input manager dot instance dot input, instead of having to like subscribe to the events. This is just a place for me to keep all my inputs so I can get them from a script from anywhere. This is probably one of the major things. Let me come down here. Where is it? Okay, so remove the preview. Now, come to my prefabs. I've got full body previews now. So this doesn't even have to be enabled, but if I grab my right, which I think is this one. Nope, that's my left. Grab my right, throw that on there, and then on my left, I grab my left preview. Fingers crossed, this was quite a bit of work, but I can now spawn a full body in the correct position of where the hand needs to be, dependent on my setup. So now I can just go through the motions exactly the way I just did, where I can rotate the fingers. I need to add buttons here just because it's really hard to get to your gizmos. So if I come down to I'm going to make this auto select to where you can switch back and forth in between this view and the view where these gizmos are. But there's my gizmos. So they're exactly the same. They work exactly the same way. And this actually works exactly the same way. And then I can save that pose and apply it to my full body. And this works for my left and my right. The only thing I got to work out now is how to mirror these in a easy, simple to use type of way. And I know this looks funny, but I've only got one skin mesh renderer, so that's the most of the body I can get rid of with still having an arm. So I don't know. But that's where it's at right now. I'm trying to think of what else I've added. I think that's about it. I think that's the end of the devlog, fellas. Thanks for watching for the past 9 minutes. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Stay tuned for what I'm adding next for the whole XRIT exploration. Take it easy.